Hello, my name is Mike, and we are going to do some laminate repair using some tinted epoxy. This will work for any corners or edges. It's not really meant for seams or for cracks. Some of the materials that are going to be required for this job, if you are going to use a tint, would be, of course, the tint itself. In this case, it's a dye. This is a fabric dye you can get at any grocery store. Other tools that you're going to need if you don't use a dye are whatever paint that you want to use. Masking tape, some packing tape, a file, some sandpaper. In terms of safety, you're going to want some safety glasses. Also, some latex gloves would be nice when you're working with epoxy, and an epoxy mixing surface. In this case, we're just using a board. You could buy specific ones, but we got scrap laying around that we're going to use for this purpose. Notice a mixing cup for the epoxy, and then epoxy you could buy at any store. In this case, we're just going to use the stuff we use in the shop. We go through a lot of epoxy, so we buy it in bulk, but you can pick up anything in the store that looks like this. In this case, what I keep around in tubes are stuff specifically for plastic. Otherwise, we use the big tubes here, the big tubs. What we've done is create a mock-up of a laminate corner that you might find. In our case, we make piano shells. So we have a corner of a piano that may just end up getting run into by, well, who knows, maybe even a careless piano player. So watch what happens when we damage this corner really well. I mean, let's really dig it out good. So the object is to repair this corner and make it look like it was never damaged. And then while we're at it, let's do an edge too. Now you can see that laminate's pretty tough stuff. In fact, given the right amount of the right angle, it's tough to even get it to chip away, especially when it's glued on there right. So the first thing that you've got to do is actually clean up whatever damage has been done. You don't want any loose material or anything in here that's going to cause it not to stick. And this epoxy is pretty tough stuff, but nonetheless. So you got it all cleaned up. Now we got to make that look new. So the first thing that we got to do is grab the Scotch tape, some packing tape. And very carefully work our way, proud of the surface, but tight across the other two planes. This will create the perfect void to pour our epoxy into. So you can see it is desirable to have a small bit right here at the top. You can notice it curves just a little bit. Maybe I can get my camera angle in on there. Right at the top, there's a small curve. It curves out a little bit. Instead of trying to get that perfectly square, you're actually going to prefer the end product to be a little bit curved at that top right there. So if you can't already tell what we've done here, we've already set up a dam for our laminate, or for our epoxy rather, to fill behind. We'll do the same thing on the edge. And if you haven't guessed yet, our next step is getting the epoxy ready. If you're working with epoxy, I recommend gloves. This stuff is sticky, it doesn't like to come off conventional means. Small repairs like this will take a very small amount of epoxy I won't be mixing much more than, let's say, I'm going to go ahead and mix it on the board so that you can watch. This is a 50-50. Most epoxies that you buy in the store are going to be the same. Half of each. So you'll see, I mean, I'm just going to, one small drop. And that's about twice what I'm going to need. So, I'm going to put half of it back in the bottle. Alright, very good. We'll go on to the other half of the equation. Now I like to start, this particular brand of epoxy, 1/2, the resin is quite a bit thicker and doesn't pour as easily as you can see the hardener. So I like to start with that because it's easier for me to control the other half as far as what amount comes out of the bottle, as you can see. Alright, now mix thoroughly until the color of the epoxy is same all the way. Notice it's turning white. It will dry almost clear. There's one spot. And I'm pushing it right down in there. It will settle as well, so leave a little extra. And I'm going to do the same thing over here on the edge. Same thing, I just wipe the epoxy right on that edge. Right in there. A very small amount. Let you watch the tape come off. We'll start with the Scotch tape, because you're not going to break anything. It's tough stuff. And I don't know if you could tell already, but that looks amazing. Now we simply use a file, and we file this sucker down. And it'll file easily. It's a softer material. You'll notice it'll turn gray. There's not much we can do about that at this point. You want to file in one direction. Moderate pressure. You see, I'm just working away at it. Now you have a number of choices. Now, as you can see, this is beautiful and shiny on this outside. And there's our corner. Now, if you don't like this bulging out sides, you can take that down too. We can shape this corner any way we want. And then I want to show you how to get some of that shiny black back. Perfect. Work our way around. Alright, I've gotten it wet. We take a green scrubby and we'll just wash it down real well. Now this repair also can be painted.